Hello and welcome to another episode of Ken's Training. Today's training is going to be on CAN light fixture, troubleshooting why the lights are not working. Now we got the call. This was the bulb. There's actually two bulbs. They're just like this style right here. We already took them out, put two brand new bulbs in there, and still no light. The light switch is on. There's no light coming out. We don't know what's wrong. The assumption is going to be that the ballast is burnt out. This is a hard lid sealing right here, so I'm going to have to go in through the can. So I'm just going to put on some safety glasses here and start troubleshooting this fixture to figure out what's going on with it. So the first thing I'll do is I'll pull out the two brand new bulbs. Okay, and not to get confused with this one here, I'll put this one down and put these two aside separately, just so I don't get them mixed up. Okay, now, another thing I'm going to do. So I'm going to take and put the voltage on right here. Go ahead and turn the light switch, that one light switch, turn that one on. No voltage, so either it could still be the ballast or it could be a trip breaker or something like that. I don't know if the voltage is 120 or 277. Since it's hard lid, I'm going to have to go in this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this down. And I'm just going to try to pull it down gently. Not trying to disrupt anything. Okay. Alright. Okay, it looks like it comes over here, comes up behind me the opposite way. I gotta turn the ladder around. Okay. Looks like the ballast is right here, but I still cannot tell what the voltage is or anything like that. Let's see if I can. There's a little tab on top. Let's see if I can open that up a little bit. Okay, I can see the side of the ballast now. And the ballast is rated at 118 volts. So it's 118 volts as the input. Alright, so now I can use my voltage stick here to see if there's actually electricity coming in. And indeed there's no electricity coming in. So it looks like I might have a trip breaker somewhere. So the next thing I'll do is I'll check my 120 volt service panels, try to find a trip breaker. Okay, so what happened was I know the voltage was 120 volts. I didn't know what service panel. There was 3 or 4 service panels in the local area here. I checked all of them looking for a trip breaker. I couldn't find a trip breaker. So then what I did is I went to the can and I tried to follow the conduit where the power was coming from. And it went to this junction box up in the ceiling. I pulled off the plate here. Now it's telling me that this is fed from panel F, breaker number 6, and it's 120 volts. In case there was a loose connection up here, I took my sniffer, my voltage detector, and I tried to see if there was voltage in this junction box. No voltage. Now we will go to panel F and see what's up with that breaker. Okay, so here's the plate that I took off, panel F, which is right here, panel F. This is breaker number 6. Breaker number 6 is right here. Now the way that this one should work, this is a square D electrical panel. These are square D breakers. See this little window that's right here? Well, that's a trip window. When this breaker trips for some reason or another, not only is the breaker switch supposed to go to the midpoint position, but this little window here is supposed to turn orange, which it's not. This totally looks like it's on, but since I know I've got no power, and it appears to be this one, I'm just going to go ahead and cycle the switch off and on. While I'm cycling it, I'm kind of going to feel what it feels like as well. Alright. That totally felt solid. That did not feel as if it was in a tripped position. If it was in a tripped position, the switch feels a little bit funny. It's not like a normal throw, like off and on. So you can kind of sense that that something was weird with that switch. This one didn't feel tripped, like it was tripped at all. It felt totally solid. We will go back and see if we have voltage and see what's going on. Alright, so here we are back at the junction box, where supposedly is being fed from F6, the breaker I just reset. And I am not picking up any incoming voltage with my voltage detector right here. So my next step is I need to pull the panel off of the service panel. So I want to actually check with my meter that breaker is actually working and see if I find something weird going on over there. Otherwise, there's a break between here and that service panel that I'm going to have to find. Okay, so here's my service panel. I want to pull this off. I want to see what's going on, especially on breaker 6. This has two parts to it. The part that holds the door on, there's these connections right here. And I've already had this off before, and I've labeled it because I don't factory label it. O stands for opened and C stands for in the closed position. So I'm going to take this side out first. The last one I'll do is this one, because this is the one holding all the weight from the weight of the door and then pulling down. So I'll just start over here. Basically, it's just a matter of loosening this and then putting this into the open position. Same thing here. And then I'll start at the bottom here and work my way up. And now the last one. I'm going to support everything, holding this all with my left arm. Okay, not yet. I still got to continue to loosen. There it is. Okay, I got it now. Alright, so let me just support this screwdriver for a second. Okay, so there's step one. Now, I could possibly get back there, but I still got a little bit of a restriction here. So let me go ahead and pull this off. Just use my drill to speed things up here a little bit. Now it's these little smaller screws that look like this. Right there, it's a flat bladed screw, and there's 4 plus 1. One's missing. So I've got 5. Now the most important thing on this one is that you don't want this to come out and drop down, because I've got my main breaker and a sub-panel breaker, and I don't want the weight of this panel coming down here. So when I pull off these last 2 screws, I have to support this while I'm removing the screw. So I'll try to, we'll bring the camera over to this angle here, because I got to put my body over here. Alright, so here we go. Okay, so now we're completely exposed. Alright. Now that we got down to this level, I can go ahead and take my meter, get this on voltage, and the way I'll do this is I'll take the meter here and let's see. Okay, there's the backlit. Now I probably have it right there. So I'm just going on a bus bar right there just to make sure I'm grounded good here, and I'm getting a good 120 volt source. So there's 123. Now let's check breaker 6 output. Well, that's not good for us. That's telling us that this is actually good here at the service panel. The problem is somewhere between here and where I'm working. That means I got to trace it back until I find where the break is. As long as I've gone this deep into the panel, it's not going to hurt for me to go ahead and check the other breakers right here. So I'm going to quickly scan through the panel, just verifying that I got good electricity across the board. This is kind of boring, so we'll do this offline. Alright, so anyways, I checked every single one of these breakers. Every single breaker is totally good. There's no problem with this service panel, so I'm going to go ahead and button it back up because I don't have any work for me to do in this service panel. There's a break somewhere in between there and there that I got to find. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and just go in the reversed order. I'm going to put this one on first, and I'll just kind of get myself set up here a little bit so I'm ready to go. The first two that I do are the most important ones. Those are the ones where I could potentially come down. So those are the two I'm going to do really well. Go ahead and reposition over here to the left. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to go on. Nice and slowly and gently. Right there. I can see that my holes are lining up here. Everything looks reasonably good. So while I'm supporting that, I'm just going to put the screws in. Once you get a couple of them in, you can breathe a little bit easier. It's the first two that are the most hairiest. That's good, and we'll just continue putting the rest of them on. Alright, so I got the first section on, all those screws are tight and I'm good to go. Now I want to put the door on. Now here's how the back of the door works. These switches here, these are the ones that when you throw those, this turns either to an open or a closed position. So right there is the open position. What that does is it catches right on this rail here and on this rail over here. So one thing that I'm looking for is I'm making sure that there's no wires close to this. Like this wire here is a little close, okay? So I just want to kind of make sure that that's got a little bit of distance there. And I'm also checking the other side there because I don't want these wires to interfere with this mechanism right here. Now, you see the bottom of this right here is a little bit of a lip here. Now you'll notice the bottom of the door has a lip, like a little ledge. So that's where that's going to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the door. That gives me a spot to grab my hand on right underneath here. I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to put that little ledge right there at the bottom while I'm moving this towards it. Now this should square up fairly nicely. Okay. I'm I'm going in the reverse order. The first one I want to catch is this one. Once I catch that one, the weight of this is all off me. Right now it's all on me. And that is not quite lining up. I got to play with this for a second. Hang on. Okay. There it is right there. Okay. This is just a little bit out. I got to move this slightly to the left. Alright. Just squaring the panel up a little bit. That's what I'm doing. Okay, now that they're all on those latches like this, now I need to tighten down. I'm going to square the panel up, tighten this one down first. Okay, that's just one, but now I can actually pull off. The weight of that one holds this whole door and it keeps the whole thing in place. So all I have to do is just go around, tighten the other ones down, and then this door is back to a secured position. Now I see this one here must be stripped out. It's just screwing into Never Never Land. Sometimes these people, they screw super hard. You just want to make it snug. You don't want to go too crazy on these. So not all of them catch 100%. And this door is even missing one. This one's screwing into nothing as well. So I got two that are stripped out, one that's missing. It originally started with 6. So all I got is these 3 holding this whole thing together right now with any real strength to it. But anyways, that's the door. Now we're going to continue troubleshooting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into where the light fixture and the junction box are. I'm going to follow that conduit from the junction box back, trying to find the break. Okay, I'm up in the ceiling and I'm going to show you the original junction box that I was at. Right there, that one right there is the original junction box. When you follow the conduit, it comes down right to this junction box right here. It's a little dark up here. Now this was the cover plate that was on it. It's hard to read, but it actually does say F6 120. I took my meter and I'm pushing the NCV button, non-contact voltage, and I can hear voltage going in there. I think I may have a loose connection in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut off the breaker and then see if what the connection looks like to see if there is indeed a loose connection. Okay, so the breaker's been shut off. I'm going to take my meter, push NCV, and now you'll see that there's no voltage in the box at all. Now that I'm safe to work, I'm going to go ahead and start following my wires to see if I can find that loose connection. Alright, so what I did is I shut the breaker off and I separated these purples, which are right here, from this red. Now you can see that and then we turn the breaker back on. I opened this up because I thought it possibly was getting an induced voltage, but I took my meter and I put on voltage and I checked it from here to ground, and I'm actually getting 120 on the purples. Well, that purple line is the same one that's feeding my light fixture, so this was the wire nut that was connected. I'm going to put a new wire nut on, shut the breaker off, put a new wire nut on, and see if we've got voltage going through here now. Alright, so I redid that connection in that one junction box. So now I'm showing voltage right here. Let me just try it with this electronic voltage detector. Okay, now I'm showing voltage here. So even though the connection looked solid to me, that wire nut on those purple wires must have had a loose connection. So now we should have electricity right over here. Okay, I got it in the box. Go ahead and cut the light switch. Still on. None of them are doing it? Okay. So we actually, the light switch there isn't even a light switch. This one must just be on 24/7. Just for my own safety, all I'm going to do is just shut it off at the breaker so I can button this back up and put this all back together. But basically, this was just nothing more than a loose connection, is all that it was, and that's why the light fixture wasn't working. So downstream, or an upstream rather, electrical connection is what the whole problem was. But we'll have these lights on in a few moments. Okay, I went ahead and turned the breaker on, and now I'm going to put my new light bulbs back in. One point that I want to make is that when you put your light bulbs in, I want you to date your light bulbs. Otherwise, when the light bulb burns out and you take the light bulb out, you don't know how long that light lasted. You want to make sure you're getting your appropriate life expectancy out of these bulbs. Alright, so let me turn the camera up here. I've already turned the breaker back on, and I'm going to go ahead and put these on, and it should light right off. That's one. And there's the second one. Okay, so the ballast was fine. Of course, I didn't know that if the ballast was going to be an issue or not till right now, because I didn't have power till right now. It could have still not worked, and maybe the ballast was out. But in any regards, then we would have just killed the breaker, changed out the ballast, and then put the lights back in, and we'd be back in business. So that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching.